Hi, it's Rich Tehrani coming to you from SuperCom 2009 in Chicago, Illinois. And today we are going to be speaking with Steve Gleave, who is the VP of Marketing of Metaswitch. Steve, how are you?
Very good, thank you, Rich.
Great, thanks for being on the show. Could you give us a quick overview of your company and what's happening lately, please?
Sure. Yeah, I work for a company called Metaswitch Networks. Interestingly, up until very recently, I think Metaswitch was always known as being owned by Data Connections. Data Connections is a UK-based company that has been in software protocols for many, many years. And we started in the voice over IP business about 10 years ago with a division called Metaswitch. We've been so successful in that voice over IP space that Metaswitch has really become the prominent brand. And we've actually just finished rebranding the company now as Metaswitch Networks. So we have two divisions within Metaswitch Networks. One is the Carrier Systems division and one is the Network Protocols division. So at this point in time, we're now known as Metaswitch Networks. We've just recently finished our financial year, ended in August. We are a private company, but we still actually declare our numbers as well. We just finished a 61 million pounds, it's about 115 million US dollar year as of the end of August. So yeah,
Congratulations.
Rebrand and still growing, good.
Yeah, and so the company has grown in what has traditionally been a difficult time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a heck of a year. Our fiscal year last year started about a week or two before Lehman's disappeared. So we really, started the clock ticking right at the point when things were literally exploding. And I think a lot of people get absolutely surprised when they look back and say we grew the company 5% last year. We added 50 people.
Wow.
And I think people look at that and say, the natural question from people is how much did you contract last year? And to hear an answer that says, no, we continue to grow. We continue to be profitable. We've been profitable every year since the company was incorporated. Doing that and adding people, I think is a hell of a story in this market.
And there's an employee ownership plan, as I remember, correct?
Yeah, the company is structured in an interesting way. There is something called an employee benefit trust, which effectively represents ownership for employees and represents the interest of those employees. And then last year we took a sizable investment from both private equity and venture money, so Francisco Partners and also Sequoia basically bought into our company as well. So yeah, there's a three-pronged ownership right now.
Congratulations, that's great. So as you look at the markets globally, are there any spots on the map that you see that are growing very quickly compared to others or slow compared to others?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at our company, from a software perspective, a protocols division perspective, we have sold worldwide to, well, the who's who of network equipment vendors. So that business has always been global for us. As a VoIP company, we chose when we started this 10 years ago to focus on the North American market. So funny thing about Metaswitch, a lot of British accents in the company, and yet, the vast chunk of our business is done here in North America. And we really grew and dominated the heartland business for delivering class 4-5 soft switches. So that's been a very healthy business. In parallel, we've done some deals with some tier 1 names as well, things like voicemail, unified messaging type of solutions. And then over time, we've gone from just doing class 4-5 soft switches to then, of course, the features that go on top of that. So a lot of business services, hosted services. We're now selling into the cable space as well.
That's great.
And so a lot of things going there. Obviously, we see the growth now, not only as we do more things in the US market, over and above class 4-5 replacement, but also in Asia, in Latin America. And yeah, we're getting a lot of pressure from our sales guys to push into Europe as well. So.
That's fantastic. Well, it's obvious that Americans like a lot more than fish and chips from the UK.
And the Beatles.
Oh, that's yeah.
We put a lot.
How can you leave the Beatles out? That's a very good point. So, competitively, what are you seeing in the market?
I think it depends on where you look. In the soft switch space, there are some survivors. Who would have thought 10 years ago? I mean, a lot of companies disappeared. Some of those companies are still there now, and I think it's a credit to anyone who survived that long. I think the big issue competitively right now is what's happening with Nortel and the CVAS part of Nortel, and I think people are saying, people kind of know that the decision has to be made there, but it's the kind of the unknowing that I think is causing some people to say, is Nortel going to continue to be a real force in this space, or is it somehow going to be a big digestion problem for somebody who were to end up owning those assets of Nortel? So we are definitely competing in the class 4-5 business with some of those names of companies who've been in that space for a few years, some big companies, some small companies. Where we're going as a company, where we're already getting traction, is in the kind of whole application space on top of IMS networks. So now you see us as a component provider in IMS. I think our solutions have always been kind of end-to-end IMS, but single vendor IMS solutions. Now we are making some really sophisticated components available. So now we're playing in another territory. Also, as we get into cable, you see people who've been doing voice services in the cable market who haven't necessarily been doing it in the telco market. So we're seeing other companies in there. So yeah, mixed bag depending on what we're doing.
Well, congratulations on your success and your growth, and I wish you continued success. And thanks for being on the program.
Thanks so much, Rich. Pleasure.